August 15, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. There was kind of this consolidation in the pre-market. Then at around 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 5:30 a.m., there was a few pieces of economic data that came out. It was the core retail sales, the unemployment claims, and I think the Empire State Manufacturing Index. They all came here, and it looked like the market reacted pretty positively. It spiked, rallied, came back, bounced off the EMA, and then on the open, it looked like it was in this consolidation range. Then there was a slow, gradual rally, a pullback, and then another, I guess, 2 or 3-legged rally into pretty much a sideways consolidation. The volume was higher than the past couple of days, and the volatility was, I would say, pretty close to the same. I did find a few more setups, and I did take one trade, which in real time looked pretty good. But when I go describe it later, it's going to look like I was completely delusional taking this trade. And just what happened was, in real time, it looked different. Then I did a NinjaTrader. I did one of these, reload historical data. And when it came back, the setup that I thought I had completely disappeared. And it looked like I just took a entry for no reason. I was fortunate though. Well, I wouldn't say it's fortunate, but in real time, with the chart that I had, I got a profit target off of it. But if you look at it now, how it's been reloaded, it looks like I took a trade for no reason and I was able to get a scalp out of it. So I'm going to go through that shortly. In the pre-market, prices were just kind of consolidating, rallies, breaks out of this trading range, and then the economic data came out, flushes up high, bounces off the EMA. So far, so good. The first setup that I saw, I don't think it's a good trade though, as an almost trade. I marked it as a second entry short triple test, but I think this, before the reload historical data thing came up, I think it was a better signal bar. But anyways, this is what I marked earlier. It was a break of the purple channel, test to make a new high. It's also a break of this orange channel, test to make a new high. So here it looks like the uptrend is played out. There's a triple test here. Clearly this is a new localized low. You have a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. I think the signal bar was better than it shows now. And I thought there was an almost setup though, because EMA is coming up. You could trust, if you wanted to trust the strength of the triple test, then you would say there's a trade here, but this is a bad signal bar right now. But I remember in real time, it looked a little more decent. So whether I call it an almost trade or a possible trade, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to designate it now as an almost trade because it's kind of after the fact. Prices then move sideways, and this is actually the one and only trade that I took. So I have to give a little bit of background. Prices were consolidating here, bounces here. I'm thinking there's maybe a potential triple test here, so clearly some kind of support. I saw a new low here. Technically, your lowest low is here, so you have a first entry short, second entry short, third entry short. But this one here, I just kind of reset the count because I said, okay, there's kind of a clear support. Something's happening starting over. There's a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Now, the data has been reloaded, but in real time, before I reloaded the data, this signal bar, which I claimed a second entry short failure, this bar actually ticked below this guy. It ticked below this guy and engulfed this guy and closed at the high. So that gave me, as it was about to close, I entered, so it closed at the high. And the next bar is actually where I got my profit target and then my runner got stopped out. So actually this tiny little triangle should be sitting on the same candle as this one. But later, as prices kept going, I reloaded the data, came back and looked at it, and now there looks like there's no reason to go long here. There's a new low, first entry short, looks like a second entry short. And this looks like for whatever reason, I decided to go long. I got a profit target, and then I got my runner. So it's a little goofy on what happened here. And if you didn't really know what happened, it looks like I just took a random trade with no context, no reason. And I would agree. It looks like that. But I do know, I'm not sure why, this actually ticked lower and then went back up. But reloading the data, it goofed it up. I think it shifted some some data over a little bit. Like this, I think these two candles, maybe even this one, these three candles, probably should be 4 candles, or some price action should have been on this candle or this candle or whatnot. But anyways, that's just kind of the goofy thing that that happened today. I'm not sure if it's a NinjaTrader issue or my data stream issue. So I was lucky. If you look at this, I was lucky for this trade, but in real time, I thought it was a semi-decent setup. But anyways, prices continue moving. It has a failed breakout up here off this pre-market high. Prices come back down. It bounces off the trading range low, or I think is a support, kind of moves up. There's no clear second entries. I do see a new low here, say first entry short, pullback, second entry short is engulfing, but you don't want to be shorting into a potential channel support. The next setup I saw, so it's kind of what I drew. I saw a second entry long here. I called it an almost trade. So it's moving up on this green up channel. It breaks here. So this is the green up channel I had at the time. Breaks and makes one attempt up. And here it's only made one attempt up. So it could be getting ready for a second attempt. But on a smaller scale, you can see it's one attempt up, pullback, a second attempt up. I think this is an almost trade because I felt it's a little aggressive because after this close, you clearly see first entry short, and on the life of this candle, it broke down below and it engulfed it. So on this same candle, it made the second entry long. So I misspoke. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. This is a really good signal bar. It's a nice setup, except for the fact that this is the high of day made by this guy. This blue dotted line is tracking the high of day. And you don't really have enough room to scalp out. So you could take it on a very aggressive trade if you are banking off the fact that it needs to test this high after the breakout. But I didn't want to, so I left it alone. Then it sets up a second setup, which looks pretty nice. So it's a break of this green up channel, test a new high. When I saw this in real time, I had another trend line going up this way, and I thought, okay, there might be a trend line here. Then I saw a new high, first entry long pullback. This is a second entry long signal bar, which isn't very good. But you see that EMA is holding. So after the trigger bar forms and closes, this is a potential trade because it's a bounce off this potentially newly established yellow up channel. EMA is holding. There's two legs down. It did test the high, but it looks like you have the EMA also acting as support. Now, I think I would have been more confident taking a trade here if this candle had closed on its high, like closed up here, then I probably would have entered one tick above this original inside signal bar in the expectation I was going to push back up to this high. So it looks like if I did do that, I would have entered on this candle and then pushed up. Then I saw, it's not really a hunch trade, but I did see this as a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, potential higher low, but I wasn't really sure. I didn't like that it didn't touch the EMA. It felt a little iffy. It is, I was playing off this yellow up channel and I was finding the potential of this orange up channel, but in real time, I don't have enough confirmation to trust this channel yet. Then later, when more price action occurs, then you really do trust it. But it's just something I saw in real time. Not even a hunch trade. It's just something I want to point out to myself. Put it down in my notes. Just kind of keep an eye on certain things like that. Prices then continue moving. Now I have more confidence in this yellow up channel now because it looks like it's holding prices. This orange up channel is played out, breaks, and it looks like it's falling into this red up channel, but there's no clean second entries here. I do see a higher low here, so it's a new high here. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. You have a higher low here. But you also have a new low. Excuse me. You do have a localized new low, but it's being supported by this yellow up channel. And I thought it was a confirmation of this yellow up channel. It's bouncing off the EMA. It already made a new high though, so that gave me pause. And I wanted a stronger signal bar. But if you decide to take it, you do have enough room for a quick scalp. And if you look back toward history, which is this, it's really showing a strong bullish uptrend. So to take a trade there, I felt it was too risky for me, but I could see maybe a potential person taking a trade there. I just wanted a better signal bar though in order to pull the trigger. Prices then continue moving up. This is kind of another thing I noticed. It was a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long didn't fail here, and it's running right into the EMA. So I was a little confused. I like that this was a very bearish bar, but that alone isn't a strong enough reason. This had to have broken below the EMA, then it would have pretty much engulfed this guy and confirmed your first entry long, second entry long has failed. But I saw it in real time. I I was thinking, but I don't think it's really a hunch trade because my hunch wasn't very strong. I just thought when I saw this, like, I believe that's going to break through the EMA, at least for a quick scalp, maybe bounce off of here. But that's a really risky way of thinking without a clean setup. It would have worked though, but I'm hammering it out of my, uh, you know, not thinking about it too much, because if I think about this too much, next time I see something like this, which isn't a very clear entry, it's not even favorable, I might end up taking it. So it's more like a cautionary, like, hey, you saw something. In this case, it happened to work out, but don't bank on it for next time. Then prices continue moving. This red up channel is starting to exist. I drew this trend line first. I said one touch, two touch. And I was seeing if there was going to be another price move down to this red, maybe I trust it, because the up channel, the top side, I wasn't too keen on just these two touches. It looks very wide, a lot of white space up here, a lot of white space up here. Hard to trust this dominating red up channel at the moment. There's a new high here. It's the first entry long, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar. It does look like it was ranging, but then it broke out before any more price action formed. It moves up on this purple channel, makes a double top. I saw a first entry long. Technically, I have a second entry long here, but it's a doji. And even before, it was a rather doji-ish candle, so I had to leave it alone. It pushes through. It looks like there's a fail breakout here of this potential trading range, but even then, in real time, it's hard to really trust that this is a trading range yet. And I could arguably say it was part of this yellow up channel. So you have a new high, say first entry long pullback, second entry long here. At this point, when it touches this red, I'm thinking, is there going to be a bounce? Because it had a fail breakout. I'm expecting a potential fail breakout down here because you have a triple test, 1, 2, 3. One leg down, pullback, potentially a second leg down, but this is also an inside bar. So there's no trade there, but I was just watching carefully. Then it bounces up. They have a first entry long, second entry long. Then it creates this higher low. It creates this higher low with a really strong close. So I thought this was a possible trade after the close of this guy. So it does make it a little riskier. It confirms also second entry short failure. New low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. And here it fails. Second entry short has failed. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, higher low. Now, if you're saying, well, actually it's in a range, I wasn't too confident that this really was a valid range anymore because it only touched twice. It clearly has a bullish bias. The red channel is helping to act as support. So I saw it as 3 potential key entry points. Higher low, that's 1. EMA is starting to show support, that's 2, and is bouncing off this red. Taken independently, they're not very strong key entry points, but together, it kind of made a pretty strong argument. Plus, with a strong close like this, I saw this was like at least, well, there is only 1 point there. So I wouldn't have tried to enter at the highs or even at the 1 tick above. I would have entered probably in this case 1 tick above this guy. And you can see most likely I would have gotten filled here. And then I don't quite remember what happened, whether I would have gotten my profit target out, because from here I would need to get up to 68.50. So about 68.50 right here. And for sure, I would have gotten my profit target here. So to reduce my risk, I would have entered 1 tick above this. So after this close, 1 tick above this guy, this would have filled me. I probably would have been waiting, and then this would have gotten me out. Then prices continue moving. This red channel looks like it's holding, but it looks like it's about to break because it's not making much price attempts up to the high. And of course, it does start breaking, moves down on this orange down channel, but this is also into the last 10 minutes now, and it gets very, very choppy. And it was just getting a little too large a candle for what I was looking for. On top of that, it's not much time left because this is from here to here is 10 minutes of trading. And knowing that well, I didn't think I was necessarily lucky, but just knowing that, okay, I did after this reload, which I think I reloaded the data around this time. I think I reloaded the data again right around 9:30, which is about this time. I was concerned that I wasn't really sure what I was seeing was valid. So just taking this one trade and being green, especially when I had 2 previous days of no trades, I was just extra cautious not to get drawn into inventing setups or necessarily taking a trade that was a little more iffy. So a few more setups than I did see yesterday, but not that many great opportunities. So hopefully that was helpful.